In this video, we're diving into 5 secret Stoic phrases that can instantly make you more persuasive in any conversation, whether it's with a friend, a colleague, or even an adversary. Stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you'll have the tools to command attention, earn respect, and influence others the Stoic way. Let's begin. Number 1. Help me understand your perspective. Understanding another person's perspective is essential for meaningful communication, yet it requires patience, open-mindedness, and a willingness to set aside our assumptions. We all experience the world through our own unique lens, shaped by personal experiences, beliefs, and values. This means that two people can witness the same event and interpret it completely differently. That's why I believe one of the most powerful phrases we can use in a conversation is, "Help me understand your perspective." It signals a genuine desire to listen rather than just respond, to connect rather than argue. It shows that we value the other person's thoughts, even if they differ from our own. However, truly understanding someone else's point of view goes beyond just hearing their words. It involves active listening, asking clarifying questions, and considering their emotions and motivations. It's easy to fall into the trap of assuming that our way of thinking is the only rational one. But when we take the time to engage with someone else's reasoning, we often discover insights we hadn't considered before. This is especially important in discussions about sensitive topics, where emotions can run high and disagreements can become personal. Instead of shutting down opposing views, asking for perspective encourages constructive dialogue and helps build mutual respect. For example, in a professional setting, misunderstandings often arise due to different communication styles or priorities. A manager may focus on efficiency, while an employee may prioritize creativity. If the manager dismisses the employee's ideas without first understanding their perspective, it can lead to frustration and disengagement. But if they take a moment to ask, "Help me understand why you believe this approach works best," it opens the door for collaboration rather than conflict. This same principle applies to personal relationships. Disagreements between friends, family members, or partners often stem from differing perspectives, not necessarily from ill intentions. When we assume the worst about someone's actions without trying to understand their reasoning, we create distance instead of resolution. Instead, by genuinely seeking to understand, we create a space where people feel heard and valued, making it easier to find common ground. Socially, the ability to understand different perspectives is more crucial than ever. In a world where people often retreat into echo chambers, only consuming media that reinforces their existing beliefs, division grows stronger. But when we make an effort to understand perspectives different from our own, we develop empathy. This doesn't mean we have to agree with everything we hear, but it does mean we acknowledge that every person's viewpoint is shaped by their experiences. Whether in politics, culture, or everyday interactions, being open to understanding another person's reality fosters greater connection. It can also lead to personal growth, as we challenge our own biases and expand our worldview. At its core, asking someone to share their perspective is an act of respect and curiosity. It says, "Your thoughts matter, your experiences are valid," and in a world that often feels divided, that simple act of listening can be the first step toward unity. Number 2. I only control my response, not the outcome. Life is unpredictable. No matter how much we plan, prepare, or strive for a certain result, the truth is that we can never fully control the outcome. What we can control, however, is our response. This realization is both freeing and empowering. When things don't go as expected, when we face setbacks, disappointments, or unexpected turns, the way we choose to react determines our experience far more than the event itself. We often tie our happiness to outcomes, hoping that if we just work hard enough, say the right things, or make all the right moves, everything will turn out exactly as we wish. But life doesn't work that way. External factors, other people's choices, and unforeseen circumstances all play a role. The only thing truly within our power is how we respond to what happens. Consider a situation where you work tirelessly toward a goal, a job promotion, a creative project, or a relationship you've invested in, only to face rejection or failure. It's natural to feel frustration, disappointment, or even anger. But after the initial emotion, you are faced with a choice. Do you dwell on what you cannot change, or do you shift your focus to what you can control? You can let the experience define you in a negative way, feeding self-doubt and resentment, or you can see it as an opportunity for growth. You can take a deep breath, learn from the experience, and choose to move forward with resilience. The power is in your response. This mindset applies to everyday situations as well. Imagine someone cuts you off in traffic or speaks to you rudely. You can react with anger, allowing it to ruin your mood, or you can recognize that their actions are beyond your control. Maybe they're having a bad day, or maybe they're simply careless, but their behavior doesn't have to dictate your emotions. By choosing patience and calmness, you protect your own peace. In relationships, misunderstandings and conflicts will arise, but instead of trying to control how others behave, you can control how you communicate, how you listen, and how you handle disagreements with maturity and kindness. When we release the need to control outcomes, we gain something even more valuable: inner peace. Stress often comes from trying to force things to go our way, but when we accept that some things are out of our hands, we lighten our emotional burden. This doesn't mean we stop trying, give up on goals, or stop caring. It simply means we do our best, act with integrity, and let go of attachment to specific results. We trust that whatever happens, we have the strength to handle it. Ultimately, life is a series of moments where we must choose how we respond. Will we let external events dictate our emotions, or will we take control of our perspective? By focusing on what we can control, our attitude, our actions, and our mindset, we free ourselves from unnecessary suffering. The outcome may be uncertain, but our power lies in how we face it. Number 3. What's the worst that could happen? Life is full of uncertainties, and every decision we make carries a degree of risk. But when faced with hesitation, many people ask themselves, what's the worst that could happen? It's a simple question, often used to push past fear and doubt, but the answer isn't always as straightforward as it seems. While the phrase is meant to encourage action, it also serves as a reminder that things don't always go as planned. From minor inconveniences to catastrophic failures, the worst-case scenario can vary widely depending on the situation. Imagine standing at the edge of a diving board, hesitating before taking the leap. What's the worst that could happen, you ask yourself? Maybe you land awkwardly, maybe you make a big splash, or maybe you discover that it wasn't as scary as you thought. In this case, the worst is relatively harmless. But in other scenarios, the consequences could be far more severe. A student who hasn't studied for an important exam might brush off their worries with the same question, only to later realize that failing could cost them a scholarship or a future opportunity. A person taking a shortcut through an unfamiliar alley might think little of it, but a wrong turn could lead to danger. History is filled with examples of people underestimating risks. The engineers behind the Titanic were confident in its unsinkable design, yet the ship met an infamous fate. The phrase, "What's the worst that could happen?" was likely uttered before many financial collapses, political decisions, and scientific experiments that ended in disaster. Sometimes the worst is unimaginable until it actually happens. However, this question isn't always negative. It can also be a tool for overcoming unnecessary fear. People often avoid opportunities because they fear failure, embarrassment, or discomfort. But when you truly analyze the worst-case scenario, it may not be as bad as it seems. Many successful individuals have taken bold risks, not because they were fearless, but because they weighed the consequences and realized they could handle them. Someone hesitant to apply for a dream job might realize that the worst outcome is simply a rejection, hardly a life-altering event. A person afraid of public speaking may discover that even if they stumble over their words, the world won't end. In the end, asking, "What's the worst that could happen?" should be done with both caution and optimism. It's important to acknowledge real risks while also recognizing that fear shouldn't always hold us back. Calculated risks can lead to personal growth, unexpected opportunities, and even great success. But blindly dismissing the worst-case scenario can also lead to regret, failure, or even disaster. The key is to balance bravery with wisdom, embracing challenges while being prepared for whatever may come. So the next time you find yourself at a crossroads, ask the question, but take a moment to truly consider the answer. Sometimes the worst isn't so bad. Other times, it's worth thinking twice. Number 4, is this within your control? Life constantly throws challenges our way, and how we respond to them determines our peace of mind, productivity, and overall well-being. A fundamental question to ask when faced with difficulties is this within my control? This simple yet powerful question helps us differentiate between what we can change and what we must learn to accept. Many people waste time and energy stressing over things beyond their influence, like other people's opinions, unexpected circumstances, or past mistakes. However, shifting focus to what is within our control can bring clarity, reduce anxiety, and empower us to take meaningful action. One of the biggest sources of stress is trying to control things that are simply out of our hands. For example, you cannot control the weather, traffic, or how someone else chooses to behave. You cannot go back in time and undo a mistake, nor can you force people to see things from your perspective. The more we fight against these realities, the more frustrated we become. However, what you can control is your response, attitude, and actions. You can carry an umbrella, leave early to avoid traffic, or calmly communicate instead of reacting with anger. By acknowledging the limits of your control, you free yourself from unnecessary frustration and focus on what truly matters. Consider a situation where someone criticizes your work. You might initially feel upset or defensive, but is their opinion within your control? However, what is within your control is how you react. You can choose to dwell on their words and let them ruin your confidence, or you can assess whether the criticism is constructive, use it to improve, and move forward. This approach applies to all aspects of life, from relationships and career decisions to daily interactions and personal growth. The moment you shift your focus from external factors to your own actions, you reclaim your power. Another important aspect of control is learning to let go. Accepting that some things are beyond your reach does not mean giving up. It means recognizing reality and choosing where to direct your energy. Instead of worrying about what might happen, focus on preparing for what you can influence. Instead of regretting past decisions, learn from them and make better choices moving forward. Letting go of the illusion of control can be liberating, allowing you to live more intentionally and find peace in the present moment. Practicing this mindset takes time and self-awareness. Whenever you feel overwhelmed, pause and ask yourself, is this within my control? If the answer is no, let it go. If the answer is yes, take responsibility and act accordingly. The more you apply this principle, the more resilient and empowered you become. Life is unpredictable, but your response is always within your control. By focusing on what you can change and accepting what you cannot, you cultivate a mindset that leads to greater happiness, productivity, and inner peace. 5, you are not your thoughts. Have you ever caught yourself lost in a whirlwind of thoughts, some uplifting, others negative, and many simply random? One moment you feel excited about the future, the next, a flood of doubt creeps in, making you question everything. It's easy to assume that our thoughts define us, but the truth is, you are not your thoughts. Your mind generates thousands of thoughts each day, some helpful, some unhelpful, and many just noise. But these thoughts do not make up your identity. They are simply passing experiences, much like clouds drifting across the sky. The problem arises when we attach too much meaning to them, believing that every thought reflects reality or who we are as a person. Think about it. If you were your thoughts, then every fleeting idea, intrusive fear, or random memory would define your entire existence. But you know that's not true. You have thoughts, but you also have the ability to observe them, question them, and even let them go. This means there is a deeper part of you, the observer, the awareness behind the thoughts. When you take a step back and simply notice your thoughts without judgment, you begin to see them for what they really are, temporary mental events, not absolute truths. Just because you think, "I'm not good enough," doesn't make it a fact. Just because you have a fear of failure doesn't mean you're destined to fail. Thoughts are often influenced by emotions, past experiences, and even external triggers like stress, fatigue, or environment. One of the most powerful realizations in life is learning that you don't have to believe everything you think. Instead of automatically accepting negative or limiting thoughts, you can challenge them. Ask yourself, is this thought based on evidence, or is it just my mind creating a story? Does this thought serve me, or is it holding me back? When you begin to question your thoughts rather than react to them, you gain control over your mindset and emotions. Mindfulness and meditation can be helpful tools in this process, as they teach you to observe thoughts without attaching to them. Imagine sitting by a river, watching leaves float downstream. Your thoughts are like those leaves, constantly moving, coming and going. You don't have to chase them or cling to them. You simply watch them pass. By recognizing that you are not your thoughts, you free yourself from unnecessary suffering. You create space between your mind's chatter and your true self, allowing for greater peace, clarity, and intentional action. This doesn't mean suppressing thoughts or pretending they don't exist, but rather understanding that they do not have ultimate power over you. Instead of letting negative thoughts dictate your actions, you can choose to act based on your values and goals. You are not the storm. You are the sky that holds it all. Thoughts may come and go, but your true essence, your awareness, your presence, remains steady. When you embrace this truth, you reclaim your power and begin to live with greater freedom and confidence. Mastering the art of persuasion isn't about manipulation. It's about understanding human nature and communicating with wisdom, just as the Stoics did. These 5 secret phrases tap into timeless principles of logic, empathy, and self-control, helping you navigate conversations with confidence and influence. By using these phrases thoughtfully, you can foster better relationships, resolve conflicts, and guide others toward seeing reason, all while staying true to your own values. Try them out in your daily interactions, and let me know which one works best for you. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who could use a little Stoic wisdom. See you in the next one.